Hi, everyone, and welcome to my picks for the top 20 best documentaries that I saw in the theater or at home of the year 2015. I have my list right here. Here it is, 20 films. I'm just going to count down quickly, number 20 through number 11, and then the final 10 as I count down to number 1. I'll have a few thoughts of each of those final movies. So, here we go. Number 20, Meet the Patels. Number 19, Deli Man. Number 18, Red Army. Number 17, Montage of Heck, a film I saw on HBO about Kurt Cobain. Number 16, An Honest Liar. Number 15, Dark Star, H.R. Geiger's World. Number 14, Cartel Land. Number 13, I Am Big Bird, the Carol Spinney story. Number 12, Twinsters. And number 11, The Wolf Pack. Some really great films. Didn't make my top 10, but definitely some of the best films I saw last year. All right, the first one, number 10, is a documentary / concert film. I love the music, I love the man, I love the band, and this is the closest that I've gotten to see them somewhat live. Of course, this is a film I saw in the theater years after it was live, but hopefully one day I will get to see this man live, or the group itself, at least the members that are still living. All right, number 10 is Roger Waters' The Wall. Incredible film that mixes documentary as he is dealing with his past, visiting graves of the family and the father he never knew. Roger Walters. Why do I say that? It's so hard. It's just like Roger Waters. Okay, so great concert footage from around the world as he toured. I think the tour was in either 2014 or 2013, and sadly I did not get to go, but this was just great to hear the entire album of The Wall live in a movie theater with a bunch of dying fans who were respectful, except for the guy sitting next to me. I think he fell asleep. But anyways, I loved this experience. I loved the film. It was so amazing to see it live. Well, not quite live, but see a live performance from this group, from this man, of course. The band wasn't there, of course, but he had a new band. And afterwards, he actually had some other footage where he sat down with Nick Mason, who played drums, and they went over some questions. It was really funny, and you know, it's kind of an interesting way to look at the past, especially from the past of those guys, and as they speak about Pink Floyd, one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band, at least at the moment it is my favorite band of all time. I just love their music, and I love to hear it on the radio. Every time I hear it up, I turn it up and I listen, and this is just a great film that is on Blu-ray right now, and if you're a fan, it's a must-own, and someday I hope to own it as well. And hopefully someday I would love to see Roger Waters live, or even David Gilmour or Pink Floyd, Dick Mason. Rest in peace to Richard Wright, but the rest of the band is still around somehow, somewhere, and you can definitely try and hopefully see them live, because that's something that I want to do. Number 9 is a film I saw at the LA Film Festival. Hopefully it'll be released in 2016. It is a great film. It's called Be Here Now, the Andy Whitfield story. Sorry about that. Andy Whitfield was an actor who played Spartacus. He was the first one to play Spartacus in the new Stars series that happened. Of course, sadly, he passed away from cancer. And I went to this film at a screening where the director and the producer and the wife of Andy was there. I got to meet them. I actually interviewed the director. I still have that footage, and hopefully someday the Q&A and the interview will be on We Live Film, because I did a lot of work and press for the site that I work for, We Live Film. But just a really great film, and I'm really glad that I saw it in the theater with an audience that appreciated it as well. And the director was very nice, and his wife was sweet. And it's just an amazing story. Even if you don't know who Andy is, it's still a great story, because it captures the last few years of his life as he really loved his wife and his children and his life, and he was trying his hardest to continue to live and continue to work. He loved to act, and he just seemed like a really amazing guy that I'm sad that is not here with us today. Hopefully, again, as I said, it will get released sometime in 2016. Again, if you know who Andy is, you should see it. If you don't, you should still see it. Incredible film about life and about being here now in the moment and enjoying it. Number 8 is a film that I saw at the Newport Beach Film Festival, and I actually met the subject. I was so happy and excited. It it's probably the greatest experience I had in 2015, and one of the greatest movie experiences I've had in my entire life. It just how it all came together, and I actually got to meet her and also see her film. And I'm talking about number 8, A Brave Heart, the Lizzie Velasquez story. And this one tackles Lizzie, who is suffering from a very rare disease where she could eat and eat and eat and enjoy food and enjoy life, but for some reason cannot put on any weight at all. Again, I told you that I met her. There's a Q&A. It is on We Live Film if you want to see that. I wish I got a chance to interview, but I also did a review about that on We Live Film if you'd like to see that. I tried to not cry. It was very hard, but it was a very overwhelming experience for me, and something that, again, I'm not going to forget ever. Even if I lose my mind, I'm never going to forget that. It was just incredible, and this movie is, if you're asking why it's not number 1, when I saw the documentary, it was pretty much everything I already knew, so it wasn't a big surprise as I'm watching it, but still it was a very emotional experience just to keep in mind that I was at a screening, and Lizzie was there, and the director was there, and they were going to do a Q&A, and I just met her, and I didn't know this was actually going to happen. I was on my way to do something else, and so the combination of seeing the film and meeting and all that stuff just was incredible. What more can I say? That I can't say anymore. Number 7 is a film that was nominated last year for the Academy Awards, but I saw it in 2015. I should say it was nominated for the 2014 films, but I saw it in 2015. It is The Salt of the Earth. It follows a photographer, a very famous one, who experienced so many life adventures and experiences and saw so much tragedy through his great photography. And the majority of the film is just pictures with music and voiceover work. And it's beautiful black and white images and some of the best pictures I've ever seen in my life. And you can see what this guy had gone through as he had taken these pictures, and his perception of life and the way he thought about things were differently after he actually were with some of these people who were in these interesting and horrible somewhat situations, sometimes happy, sometimes sad and depressing. And I just have these images still in my mind. They're still hanging around there. A really great film, if you can find it. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but if it is, The Salt of the Earth is a great film. One of the best documentaries, and something definitely worth checking out, especially if you're into photography. If you're really into still photography, it's something you need to watch. Number 6 is called All Things Must Pass. I was a huge fan of, I've always been a huge fan of collecting physical media. As you can see behind me, I have movie soundtracks, I have movie bands over here, I've got Blu-rays, got all my DVDs way over there now, and I'm going to hopefully put more Blu-rays over here. But I loved going to Tower Records. Yes, they were overpriced. Yes, I spent too much money there, but they just had an amazing selection. And this is the story, the rise and fall, and maybe the rise of Tower Records, because they still exist in Japan. So maybe Tower Records will one day come back to America. Who knows? It's weird. I even hear that vinyl is coming back in a big way. People are really getting into vinyl again. And I've never really been one to get into vinyl. I'm more into CDs and DVDs and stuff like that. But the fact that people are excited about physical media again makes me just excited. And so this is a great film. It's actually directed by Colin Hanks, the son of Tom Hanks. Great film, lots of wonderful interviews with people that lived it, that worked at Tower Records, and of course the artists who actually were glad their music was being sold at Tower Records, and also they loved to shop at Tower Records. And one of my favorite memories, if you didn't get a chance to watch my review of All Things Must Pass, is one time I went to Tower Records for a concert for the Wallflowers. It was the one on Sunset Strip in LA, and a famous person came, and man, I forgot his name. That sucks. Well, this famous person came, and I asked if I could get a picture with him, and he pretty much picked me up. And he's a guru of, like, he loves to do fitness, and he's super excited. And oh gosh, I can't remember his name. That makes me sad. But he was very nice, and that was in 2000. Anyways. On to that one's that film. Great, wonderful film. Must see it. You must see it. If I remember that guy's name before the end of the video, I'll definitely shout it out. but for some reason I can't. He was always a funny guest on David Letterman. I remember that at least. All right, if you know in the comment box below who I'm talking about, of course you weren't there, but you probably saw him on David Letterman running around, and he's got little small shorts, big poofy hair, and super flamboyant. Anyways, I met him. I have a picture of it somewhere around here. Great moment at Tower Records. All right, number 5. I saw a great film about this guy, a live-action narrative, dramatic narrative, and then also saw a documentary a month before that called, number 5, Steve Jobs, The Man in the Machine. This is one of 2 films that came out this year from Alex Gibney. Of course, this one is about Steve Jobs and lays out his whole journey in his life and what he did with Apple and all the other things that he worked with and how difficult he was, and interviews and people who knew him. And of course, Alex Gibney gives his point of view because he has an Apple iPhone, and so he appreciates it like I do. But he's always wondering about the man himself and his journey and his life, and it's just a really great film. It's something that really blew me away, and I learned more about Steve Jobs. I know the basics, but I think I learned more from this film, and of course the Danny Boyle film that came out a month later that was really great and amazing, one of the best films, Steve Jobs. But it was pretty breathtaking and fascinating and sad and tragic and happy and all these things, because we all know what happened to Steve Jobs in 2011. So I definitely recommend this film if you're a fan or if you're not. If you don't even have an iPhone and you hate the man, it's something still worth seeing because he was very interesting, very very fascinating, and it felt a whole 2-hour documentary, and I would definitely own the film. It was really great. Number 4 was a movie called Sunshine Superman, and this movie tackles the man who pretty much created base jumping. He would jump off buildings in the 70s with his wife that he met that loved to do it too. He was extremely famous, and he did it off mountains. Anything that he could find really high, he would just jump off and parachute down. And I didn't know much about the history of base jumping, so I felt like I learned a lot about base jumping. I felt I learned a lot about an individual that was just really passionate about Richard Simmons. I figured out Richard Simmons. Sorry, that was back with number 6. Sorry, I was trying to figure it out at the same time. My brain was over here talking about Sunshine Superman, but then Richard Simmons came up and it was like, hey, let's party. So, that was All Things Must Pass. I met Richard Simmons in 2000 at Tower Records Sunset. Back to Sunshine Superman? Okay. Back to Sunshine Superman. Beautiful, breathtaking, great footage that they had with this man who helped create a whole genre of people doing it today, and now people can have these suits so they can fly. I bet he wished he was alive. Spoiler alert. Bet he wishes he was alive to do that as well. But it was very moving film, and something that if you're not even into this, I've never planned on jumping off anything, and it blew my mind. So definitely something worth seeing. Number 3 is a film I saw on HBO. I wanted to see this in the theater, but I did see it on HBO, thankfully. And it's another film directed by Alex Gibney. Second one. This one's Going Clear. This one is about the Church of Scientology, a church that I know a little bit about, living here in LA, and I do Lyft, and I actually went over there a few months ago, I would say in November, and picked up a group of people that are members of that church and took them home. And it was just interesting just to be on the property. It was just this big blue building that I had seen on TV and seen in this documentary, but never seen in real life. And, everybody has the right to worship the way they want as long as they're not hurting anybody. But it seems like the Church of Scientology might be hurting some people, at least from this documentary. I'd like to believe what's going on. I mean, this movie talks to people that are famous and people who are not famous, who are not a part of the church anymore, and their experiences and what they've gone through. So it's an extremely fascinating film. Again, if you have an HBO account, I think it should be on HBO Go. If it's still there, I'd say see it. It's definitely worthy of it. If you don't know much about the Church of Scientology, then it's something you can learn more about through that. Maybe you'll still want to join it. Who knows? Weirder things have happened. But Alex Gibney, one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, one of my favorite directors of documentaries of all time, and this is one of his best films. Number 2, this film is actually nominated for an Academy Award, but not for Best Documentary. It's nominated for Best Song for Lady Gaga, but this film should be nominated at least for Best Documentary, but it's not. The Hunting Ground. This movie tackles the women who are raped in universities and college, and it seems like the universities and college are doing nothing about it. And I don't know if anything's changed after this film, but I was extremely moved by this movie and what this film documents, what the interviews with the women who experience these things, and it's just pretty depressing and sad. It's almost like these guys that are going through this pretty much get a slap on the arm and that's it, and then they're back into whatever they do. If they're a star of sports or screen or whatever, they seem like they just get a slap on the wrist and they're on their way. And some girl has been hurt and abused and bullied, sexually abused, of course, and seems like nothing's happening. So I hope through this film and hopefully what the women are doing, they will find peace in their own lives and hopefully be able to live a comfortable life, even though this is part of their past. This will probably never stop happening because boys will be boys, girls will be girls, and I don't know what else to say. It's just sad. It makes me depressed. I would hope for change. I hope the right people get to see this film, and I hope that it actually makes a difference in the future. But it's a really great film, and again, it should be nominated. It should be one of those 5. They nominate the song. It's like last year. They nominated a song from a documentary, but they didn't nominate the documentary, and they're doing it again. Congratulations, Lady Gaga, but I think this film deserves to be nominated for Best Documentary. The final film, number 1, is nominated for Best Documentary, and I believe it should win. That film is called Amy, and of course it is about Amy Winehouse, one of the greatest artists to ever live, an enigma, a very interesting, strange, weird woman that had a beautiful voice, a great talent, and God bless that she was weird and strange because there's going to be no one else like her. And I loved her music. I loved that she was around. I loved everything about her except for her demons and probably what helped to cause her death. This film examines her life. It examines the issues she had. It examines her personal life and the people that loved her, the people that really knew her. There's great footage of her before she was ever famous, and I wish she was still around. I really wish she was still around. This film really takes a lot of great footage and mixes it with voiceover work, and you really get a sense of Amy, even if you're not a fan. I've talked to people who are not a fan of Amy Winehouse, and they love this film. So I think that's a great credit to the filmmakers that really tried to make a film about somebody. And if you love Amy, you're going to love it. And if you don't love Amy, I think you're going to really love it too, just because it's so entertaining and so insightful about addiction, about fame, and about a tragic life that ended too soon. I really miss Amy, as I said before. I wish she was around making more music. I'm glad I have a few albums of her. I think I have the 2 albums that she released in her time period. And maybe there's some other music hanging around that she recorded that we'll get one day. And we're still getting music from a lot of artists who have passed away sometimes. I mean, I don't know if we're getting music recently, but we have gotten some music from Tupac and probably Elvis, and Michael Jackson released an album after he died. So there you go. All right, everyone, there's a fly in here. Those are my top 20 best films of the year 2015, or best documentaries, I should say. Sorry about that. In the comment box below, what are yours, and did you see any of these films that I'm talking about today? Thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and look forward to my final video about 2015, which will be the worst film, top 20 worst films I saw of the year 2015. Bye, everyone, and peace be with you.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and share this video. And also, please check out these amazing movie websites. And if you enjoyed this review, please click here to subscribe to my channel, and also please check out all my recent reviews right here on YouTube. Have a great day, live film, find peace, happiness, and harmony in anything and everything you do. and I'll talk to you at my next movie review.